Mulberry.
Yeah, see, man, I got a kid too, man.
How old?
1.
One.
Yeah,
Okay.
turned 1 in January.
Oh, this month?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, January 4th, I think. Welcome to the Mulberry Podcast, episode 32. I got my buddy here with me, Leon Miles. Just recently became a daddy.
What up? What up,
Huh?
man?
Congratulations, bro.
Thanks, bro. It's just exciting, man.
You got a young boy? Your
Yeah,
son?
boy, Elijah,
That's
Lil
dope.
EJ.
That's dope, man. How long have you been out of the hospital, or how has he been out of the hospital?
We left Thursday night, bro. I couldn't wait to get out of there, bro. The food was like
It was
terrible.
trash.
I was there for 4 days, bro. I was sleeping on a little, like, it was a couch size list, but it was rough, bro.
Yeah.
Back was hurting. I just want to take my little dude home. But yeah, been
How
out
long?
since Thursday.
Okay. How long were you in the hospital for?
4 days, and we left. Got there Monday, left Thursday night, so about 4 days.
Okay. Everything went smooth, all that?
Yeah, everything was cool for the most part. He had like jaundice, so that's what kept us there the 4 days. But that's just like, it's common. So you get like, put a little blue light on him to lower the levels, and took a couple of days and knocked it out. So yeah, it was cool. But other than that, everything else was smooth.
Everything was good.
Chill ass baby, bro. Don't really cry much. Fucking pissed on me yesterday. But other than that, he's hella chill, bro. He just sleeps. Don't really cry much. Don't whine. Just be chilling.
That's good, man. That's dope. Are you one of the first in your friend group to have kids?
Bro, I'm not.
No?
I'm really not, bro. I gotta, damn near all my boys have kids except for like a handful.
Oh, yeah?
But majority of the people you see me with on a daily basis all got kids. All boys too.
Oh, yeah?
Majority. I think only probably have like one or two homies with girls, but all boys. So
That's dope. They're going to get to grow up around the same age a little bit.
yeah, exactly. That's why I said it's like, it's crazy how it works out. It wasn't planned at all, but
Yeah.
it works out. So
I don't know, man. I'm still at that. I don't know. I still, like, when I hear, like, oh, man, so-and-so is pregnant, I'm like, oh, fuck, for real? Like, because, like, before, when you're younger, it's kind of like, damn, that sucks, But I guess we're getting to that age where, it's one of those things.
yeah, I don't know. It's an age where it's like everyone kind of feel like you're still too young or you're still too late. Like, it can go either way. And you may feel like everyone's different. Some people want to be 40 and have their kids be 18 to where they can still live a little with them. Some people would rather wait till they're 30 and settled. And so everyone's different. But
Yeah.
for me personally, I feel like it was, it wasn't planned, but I feel like it was perfect timing for me, honestly.
Yeah.
So, it's exciting, bro. Like, and me being a coach and my football history, you know how that's gonna go.
Yeah.
So this little dude's gonna ball,
And you're going to be on that ass, huh?
bro. So when you get to walking, we training. Got the ladders
Yeah.
ready.
So I got a question about that, actually. So when your kid, when your son gets to the age where he can play, like, youth tackle football, are you going to let him do that?
I get that question a lot, honestly. It's like, he's definitely gonna play. I don't know right away at like 7. I think that's the age you can start at now. I think 7. I don't know about 7. He's definitely gonna train from the age he's already gonna be working. But I'd probably say, like 10. 10
Okay.
for sure he's playing. But the 7, 8, 9 age, I don't know, because kids aren't really like, at that point, they're still just running around. They really got too much knowledge of the game yet. So I feel like that's where everyone's worried about injuries happening, like, that age. So it's like, I understand that part. So like, and I get it too. So that's why I'm like, probably not that age, but 10 for sure.
Yeah.
10, 11 for sure he's going to play.
Yeah.
But the grind going to keep going.
Yeah.
As soon as
For sure.
he hits, that 6, 7, It's go time.
Yep.
You gotta be ready. So
No, I just wanted to ask you that because I don't know a lot of people who are, as passionate about football as you are,
yeah.
and who have a kid, and you do. So I was just curious, if that's kind of sunk in something you. I mean, I know he's barely born, but
It's something I've always thought about. 'Cause a few of my boys have kids, so they ask me, they're like, bro, like, I'm gonna let my kid play at all. Or if I could go back when we were young playing, I would have waited a little longer. So I've talked about it for a while, even before he was born. We talked about it. So it's like I see both sides of it, but yeah, I'll probably wait till he's about 10, 11, start playing. But he's not gonna just sit around up until that point. He's gonna.
oh no,
Yeah,
most definitely.
he's gonna work for sure. But
yeah.
no, yeah, it's a.
Because I know people, instead of like putting him in tackle, they'll put him in flag.
No, yeah,
'Cause
that.
you can learn all the fundamentals.
No, yeah, exactly. So yeah,
in
he'll
that.
definitely do some of that.
Yeah.
But shit, if we have football by then, the way it's
Yeah.
going nowadays,
Yeah.
shit, it's
That's
getting
true, man.
getting soft, man.
Even in the NFL, it's getting soft.
QBs get touched, personal
Flags
foul.
coming out.
It's crazy.
Bro. Yeah. Nah, I think about that. I know my mom, after watching that movie Concussion, she was like, if I knew all that, I probably wouldn't have even let you play,
A lot of people are that way, bro.
So, I mean, there's a lot of knowledge that's coming out that I think the, NFL, they were like trying to keep that on the down low for a while just because they knew it was going to hurt their PR, which I really don't think it did. People are still going to watch and want to see people play, but like it should be important to like make sure that everyone's safe. But at the same time, man, I don't know, because there was a while where I didn't even really watch NFL like that because it's just like, bro, this is lame, man.
It did when it first started transitioning. I kind of like phased away too, but then just like now I'm like back deep in it because when you coach and you're just like game planning and trying to find new ideas, you watch it for those reasons, and then being a fan of the game, we're gonna watch it naturally. But I'm always looking for ideas and stuff, so I'm always just watching it. But no, yeah, it's different, bro. Like, yeah, definitely gotta protect the athletes. It's like even from like when you and I were playing till now, crazy.
It changed dramatically.
Crazy, bro. It's like even like the practice schedule, like you can only allow a certain amount of hits in a week, so it's like even though like when we play, it was like, Monday hit, Tuesday hit, Wednesday hit, Thursday shells, and blah blah blah, Friday game day. Now it's like Monday is kind of a little softish. Tuesday's a little, get after it a little bit. Wednesday a little bit, and Thursday. So it's like, but even then, in those first few days of the week, when you would assume everyone's like kind of getting after it, it's even like it's went down to like, even just shoulder pads and helmets for the most part. It's not even like that full on suit up, blah blah. Everything is just pop and wrap. There's no more taking kids down to the ground. It's different.
Yeah.
So it's like something you had to adjust to, especially when you come from, the way we were coached, and the way we were taught, and the way we were playing compared to now. It's like it was an adjustment, but like you said, you gotta look out for the kids. So it's understanding, but yeah, it's definitely different.
Yeah, because you definitely see it from a all around perspective. Now that you're coaching stuff, which we're definitely gonna get into more. But yeah, that's true. I think also I remember just part of being a football player and being out there was to be in all your shit when it was 100 degrees outside and like enduring that, just because like it really showed if you really wanted to be out there or not.
The facts.
That was just part of it, just that character.
Exactly. It's not that way anymore, bro. It's like you'll get like, and I get it. At the same time, it's also like, during this pandemic, we had our little phases where they would allow us to practice, where they wouldn't allow us to practice, and for a portion of the summer that we were able to, it was like,
was it optional?
It wasn't optional at that point. It was like, all right, we got the approval, like it's go time. But we were only allowed a couple of days a week and for a certain time period. So it's we were only getting like really an hour and a half of practice.
Which that's not really doing any justice.
Really wasn't. And they called it was a conditioning phase. So like we couldn't touch a football. We couldn't really do anything. It was like you're broken up into groups, so you can have more than 10 kids in a group, and that group stays in that group. So it's like I have 10 kids. That group, that those 10 kids are with me no matter what, all the time.
Right.
And they can't cross groups or anything. They stay with you, and so you have to do your own workouts with them and conditioning, whatever. That's how it was. But it was like even then it was 98 degrees. We're only there for an hour, and kids would get 4 water breaks, 3 water breaks, and I was like, well, that's not enough. And I'm like,
It's not enough. What do you practice like 15 minutes at a time?
that's what I'm saying. I'm like,
Bro, we used to like, can I get water? Hell no. Like, get your
exactly.
ass
I
out.
remember like 3 hour practices. We probably got 3,
Yeah, like 1 an hour.
literally, and it was like, and kids were like that, and you'll get, I couldn't remember my mom ever being like, hey, Swerwood, it's 98 degrees today. I don't think it's good for my son to be out there. And it's like I'm not trying to diss those parents that do that, but it's like I'm just speaking on how it's transitioned from then to now. And I'm like, and I get messages like, hey, coach, it's not a good idea for my kid to be there today. He'll be back on so and so. And I'm like, as a coach, what can you do? It's like you're not gonna punish a kid for doing that, because at the end of the day, it's like a parent's decision. But it's also like it's crazy to see in the transition. It's like, wow, I couldn't even imagine my mom texting, my coach that in high school, and what his reaction would be. It was like either you're all in or you're all out.
Yeah.
You can't be, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. So it's like, yeah, it's a little different. And I don't think kids see it the way it was seen back then. As far as like how you said, it's like, oh, you still being there shows your commitment to the team, and you being all in. It's not like that anymore at all. So it's like, I don't know, it can be a little irritating at times, but what can you do?
Yeah.
You got to deal with the cards you're dealt.
Man. Oh, that's funny, the water breaks. Because I remember when we get water break, I was like over there sucking water down because like we were like hurting, bro, Like that was part of it. Like, we're going to get through this, and then, you'll get your water break, but you got to do all the work first.
Exactly.
Like we would go and like, that was like a treat, to get some water. That was crazy.
You can see a difference now. It's like we'll go through warm-ups to practice, get there during warm-up stretches, and kids are like tired, like, coach, I get water, and I'm like, man. So it's like, it's coach, you got to adjust. So I'm like, yeah. So like, just giving. Sometimes I feel like, damn, like, am I getting soft? Like, just because of the amount of water breaks you give and the things you allow that you knew wouldn't be allowed back in our time. So it's like,
probably just because
it's crazy even saying like back in our time, like it was a long time ago. That was only like 6 years ago.
Yeah, not even that long ago.
And it's crazy to see how much has changed in that time span.
Yeah.
And so
probably just so much more like outside distraction that's able to be involved with like football practice and stuff. Because like I feel like for us it was like not like a sacred thing, but it was like what goes on the field at practice, it stays there. That's the coaches, like they're responsible, like they're gonna take care of it,
Yeah.
And now you got like you said, like more parents like hitting you up about it and shit. Like our coaches would roast our ass if our mom texted them.
Like it's different. Like I said, it's parents are a lot different now. Like, and these kids, and I said these parents know what they can and can't get away with, and so do the kids. So it's like. And someone will push those boundaries. They'll know, like, I can do this or I can say this. And there's nothing they can do about it. Like, they can't. They kick my kid off for this. I can go to the so-and-so about this and cause an issue. So it's like, it's a little different. But, I mean, like I said, what can you do? You just got to take it and roll with it. So.
I remember asking you this when we saw each other a while back. Because you're very passionate, so the difference in playing versus coaching and like how that feels to be playing and how it feels to be coaching and like out there, especially in like a close game.
Yeah. It's different, bro. Like I said, I enjoy my playing time. Like it was memorable for sure. We did a lot of great things, but I think coaching is a lot better for me personally, because it's like you get to see all the, like, you see a different standpoint now. Like when you're playing, you you put the work in, but and everything else, and you win games and you score touchdowns, whatever, and you only feel like you may feel your own personal accomplishments that you're excited for, but then when you're a coach, bro, it's like you get to really see like a team go from what they were in June, and you thinking, damn, I don't know if we're gonna be that good because we're immature still. We can't get this simple play down. We can't blah blah, and to just continuously push them on a daily basis, then see where you're at in November and where you're fighting for a section championship. And so it's like, and you get to see these kids grow day by day by day. And even like you get them as freshmen to seniors, like you see the growth in their height, weight, size, everything else, academics. You get to change. You get to have an impact on them as people.
Right.
And I think that's the biggest part. Because like I've parents a lot of time they're like, man, coach, like, because I feel like every coach is different, bro. It's like you'll get coaches who just care about winning, and they'll treat you in that way. So once your time is up with them, and it's like all you have with that kid and chemistry wise was just them playing football. And so it's like I always felt like you get more out of a kid when you're real with them about your own personal experiences and like how you dealt with things. Like I said, I had a lot of kids, like especially at where I coach at, a lot of kids, you'll get the Beechwood kids who go through trials and tribulations versus like some other kids from other areas who really don't.
Right.
And so you'll get those kids who like have come from a family that struggles, and they may assume like, oh, you're a coach, blah blah, you have this great life, and so they won't open up, and they'll carry this like just wall with them, and they won't let you in. Then so I'm like, you know what, like you don't gotta be where you come from. So like you may come from a gang background or not the most wealthy background, but it's up to you to change that. And that's the one thing I always preach to the kids all the time. And I'm like, bro, I didn't like you guys assume. So like always when I see that, like I think it's important for me to really be like, all right, this is one of those kids that I have to sit down and break it down with. So I'll sit down and I'll break down my whole history, and then once you do that and you see, they see where you come from and that you're no different, and to where you're at now, like, I'm not saying I'm where I want to be yet, but it's like that gives them hope.
Yeah.
And then that turns their grind up a whole new level, and that's one of the best things you can see. And I've had a few kids that way like that, where freshmen that came in and wanted to be, little gang bangers and be in the streets and thought they couldn't do more because where they come from, and all they ever knew was their brothers or uncles or dads were in the streets, so they got to do the same thing and in and out of prison. I'm like, that ain't got to be you.
Right.
And so it's like, especially when you see those kids really take that and run with them, be like, I don't got to be that. And they get accepted into a 4-year school, whether it's on a scholarship or just academics. That's just life-changing, bro.
Yeah.
It really is like, I've done my job. Like I said, we're all here to coach, and, footballs are the one thing that you come in and do. But when they leave out as, young men and pursuing the goals that, they may have not thought of when they first came in, that's where it's really at. So that's why I enjoy it more than when I was playing.
Yeah, that's most definitely true. That doesn't make sense as being an athlete, because you don't really notice your growth.
Yeah.
I didn't notice when I got bigger or stronger or faster, in football and even in track. Like, your times would get better, but you don't really notice the work.
Yeah, exactly.
And then with football, being a coach, you definitely want to have that mutual respect. Like, you want the kids to respect you and understand you, and you be able to understand them.
Yeah.
And it seems like that's what you're doing, and it helps not just on the football field, but, in life as well. Because, like you said, some kids don't have that at home. They don't have those role models at home,
Exactly. And that's why it's so easy for me, because I'm like, I didn't have that for sure. Like, bro, I would be in high school, and I would have this backyard, and it was like kind of, it wasn't the biggest, but I would, set up little chairs and stuff and just do my workouts back there. Just like running and doing my cut drills and everything else. And I never had no one to be like pushing me like, hey, do this, do that. Or I would just make it up as I went along.
Right.
And so it was like, if I can be that person for these kids nowadays and really like give them that extra push and be that like male figure for them to get them to understand that this is what you gotta do to get to where you want to be. Like I'm gonna do it because like I said, I didn't. My mom worked a lot and it was just me at home, so I was just like, all right, like I knew I wanted it to be great, but I'm like, all right, I gotta do something. So I would do stuff as I went along, and me and Jason and Tyler would push each other, and that's just how we operated. But it was like I didn't have anyone at home like, hey, this homework's important because of this, or you gotta study for this because it's SAT, you gotta do that. I didn't have anyone telling me that, especially growing up young, like, and being in youth and watching all the high school players, like, I didn't have no one telling me, like, this is the route to go, do this, do that. So, like, now that I'm still, like, I'm a coach, but I'm still younger, to where these kids, like, they can still talk to me, relate to me in ways where, like, they feel like the coaches that are a little bit older, they can't. And so I feel like I have that advantage to where, like, I can sit down and tell them, like, hey, bro, like, this is the route to do this, do that, take this serious, blah, blah. And, like you said, for some reason, they'll hear it from me and they'll take it and run with it versus other people. Like, I have dads who will tell their kid, like, the exact same thing I tell them, but for some reason, they'll hear it from me and not their parent. And why, I don't know. I guess I don't know if it's because I'm younger and they just respect it, or they knew the athlete I was, or I don't know. But it's like, it's crazy.
Yeah. I also think a lot of times when your parents tell you something, it's like you ain't even trying to hear it.
Exactly. That too.
Yeah. But I had so you were just really like self-motivated.
Yeah. I had to be, bro, because it was like I said, that's where
crazy.
That's where I get back to, like, where I tell kids, like, you ain't got to be where you come from, like, because I come from, like, in my family, like, everyone, like, I don't think we had anyone go to college or, like, do that. Like, most of my family, like, come from, like, a gang background, and it's like no diss to that. Like, they did what they did, whatever. Like, they're all like they're all like family men doing their thing now. But it's like at my age, they weren't doing what I was doing, and so it was like I could have, especially at that age too, where I got in high school, I could have went this route and been like, oh, I'm gonna, do this because this is what I grew up seeing.
Well, what made you choose that route? Especially you not having that around. What made you personally just go, this is what I want to do?
Honestly,
because that's kind of rare, man.
It was. I'm not saying like I was perfect, because I definitely was like a little a-hole and doing dumb stuff, but it was like I was playing youth, and one of my uncle, he was away for a couple of years or whatever, and he had a friend, and he was like, and I would hang out with his son or whatever, and he would be like, your uncle would like, this is what you do, like football, you're good at this, like keep doing this, keep going, like I know you don't have like your uncle or anyone around to tell you this, but I'm telling you, like, this is you, like when you're on that field, like you can't be touched, like do this, don't go this route, like your uncle wouldn't want that for you. And so that was one thing, and I was like, all right, like that's true. And then I just started to realize, like, man, like I can take this game as far as I want to take it. And so it was like, I knew the consequences. Like I said, when you grow up in that background, you kind of know, like, you'll see, like, oh damn, someone did this and this was the result of it. So I was thinking, like, I don't want that to be like my future. I want to, do something with this, like. And so now I always knew that, like, whether I, play college ball or whatever, that I was going to coach one day, honestly. Because, like, I just enjoyed being on the game and helping people. So I was like, I'm gonna stick to this route. And then me not having, like, that father figure around to help me do it, for some reason it motivated me even more, because I would hear people around here that knew, like, my actual dad, like he played, they're like, oh, your dad was good, and I was like, I kind of know him, like we talk a little bit, but I'm like, my dad, I'm tired of hearing, like, oh, your dad was this, and I'm like, hell no, like I'm gonna be better.
Yeah.
And so I was like, so that's what I just did. I was like, you know what, like I'm about to take this game to a different level. And so that was my own personal, like, motivation for why I wanted to be as good as I want to be. But
did you end up playing college ball?
I did for a little bit. I got the offer from Southern Oregon, and then I ended up not going. I had stuff to take care of here at home. Like my mom got sick and everything else, and a little bit of that of her being sick and me needing staying around to help her out, just like for multiple reasons. And then as part of me is kind of just like, I feel like I can do better than this school I'm gonna go to. So both of those are just like, I ended up decommitting and telling him I'm not going. And even then, the coaches, he stayed in contact with me for like a year. He was still just like, hey, come back, come back, come back. And I was just like, oh no. And he was like, all right, well, just take a semester, think about it, play at the junior college you're at, and if the spring you're ready, like you're still got a spot here. And I'm like, all right. And so I played there. I played the JC in the spring or the fall, and it was cool. But as time went on and you start to become an adult and everything else, and I just kind of grew away from it. And I was like, I started thinking more like, damn, like, do I want to keep playing football? And it was like, and I still wanted to play, but then I started to see like the transition from, it was already happening, like just where the game was going. And I was like, you know what, I'm fine with never playing football ever again, but I got to do something to impact this next generation coming up. And so I was like, I'm going to start coaching. And that's just how that.
So it was an immediate transition?
Yeah. Whenever I decided I wasn't playing anymore, I remember I was coaching a youth team, the youth varsity team, and then we were really good. And I remember I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do. And so I text Navarra, and I'm like, hey, coach, like, blah, I hope all is well. Like, if you got time, I want to talk to you. I want to get into coaching. And he's like, heck yeah, let's do it. Like, because nowadays, bro, there's a lot of alumni that want to come back and coach, but they just, for some reason, don't. And he's like, heck yeah, like, I think that'd be great. He's like, let's sit down and talk about blah. So we sat down and talked, and since then, I've just been doing it.
And you coach the freshmen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, freshman
head coach. All right, that's cool, man.
Yeah, it's cool.
You like coaching freshmen?
I do. I enjoy it because it's like it's their first experience in high school, so it's like it's more challenging for me because it's like I'm either gonna make or break this kid. Like after this year, this kid's either gonna keep playing and stick with it or hate and never play again. And so I want those kids to be like, damn, like Coach Sam's a great coach, like blah blah blah. I want to keep on doing this. And I know once they get past me and they keep playing, and they're going to continue. Right. Because the coach at our JV level is a great dude. He's great. And then once you get to varsity, it's varsity football. And Friday Night Lights is something different. You know how it goes. So it's like, I like this a challenge. So I'm like, hell yeah, let's do this.
Yeah. So, man, the school is right there, bro. On Fridays, like I could smell all this shit, like game day.
In the air.
I'd be like pumped, like it would kind of make me sad, bro. 'Cause I can't go play anymore, But do you guys do you usually get how many years have you been coaching? Like freshman?
Freshman 4 or 5.
And every year, do you guys get a big squad?
For the most part, yeah. Usually,
like how many kids on average? Because when I was a freshman, I think we had like almost 70 kids, bro.
Yeah, it's not. Well, it starts out that way. And then by the time they come to a few summer practices and it's hot, it declines.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's about 40, 45.
Yeah.
Originally, when you get that 8th grade sign-up sheet, it's always like this year I got one. It was like they had like 73 kids, and now through the pandemic, we're in a pandemic. So through the pandemic and coming to summer practices being hot, that number dropped almost in half. I'm at like 40 kids now.
Yeah.
But.
Damn, man, so I was a freshman. We had a large team. Like we used to take I think 2 buses, man, to like the away games. And then JV year was a massive drop off, bro.
No, it's that way.
Insane. And that's why I appreciate my sophomore year, because those are like my real brothers, like my closest football brothers, because all the kids who didn't really care, they stopped playing. And then you had the better kids on the team go play varsity, especially when we were at, because we had a lot of kids hurt when I was a sophomore on the varsity team. So they took Trevor Coleman, Shane Lambert, Kyle Thorpe, Corey Maxwell, like all of our better players.
Yeah.
So now we're stuck with 20 kids
Mm-hmm.
and it's just us every day, not on the turf practicing, out in the mud, on the grass, shitty ass weather,
All the holes in the back.
all the holes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, we're out there getting yelled at, and like everyone's looking at like, bro, we ain't even trying to be out here right now. Like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But like, we stuck it out, and I will never forget that year,
No,
just because of that.
sophomore year is it's important. That's where you really see like that's where you know who you're gonna be with for the next 2-3 years, because it's like, all right, like you said, after freshman year, the kids they choose like, I'm not gonna do this, or I am gonna do it.
Yeah.
And so whoever you have JV year, you know, okay, this is who is gonna be here for the next 2 years, because at that point, you know, okay, those kids already know like, I've been through the heat and the yelling.
Yeah, it's like, why are you gonna quit at this point?
I'm gonna stick it out.
Yeah.
And so you know, like, okay, this is what I'm gonna ride with for the next few years. Like, and we're gonna do what we gotta do. So yeah, sophomore year is huge, but it's that way. It's that way everywhere, bro. Every school.
Yeah.
Even us, you know, we'll have some kids. Like, I think last year our JV team had like 17, 18 kids, and that was crazy because the year before that it was like 40 something, and it was like, and even like other schools, I see like El Cap, they'll turn their team into just one JV team with freshmen and sophomores because they don't have the numbers at one of the levels. Or Merced High, the same thing. Like, it's getting to that point to where I think like, I personally feel like at some point it's gonna end up just being like how it was back in the days where it was like frosh soft and then varsity, because it's turned into that phase where at the JV level it's like kids are just not committed anymore and want to back out. And you get those 20 that want to play still, which is like, realistically, that's tough to do.
Yeah.
It's tough to play with 20 because you're thinking you got to have
Everyone's playing both
everyone's
ways.
playing both the ways and special teams.
Yep.
Especially in the fall too, and it's hot. It's a lot.
Yeah. And when kids get hurt, like I had to fill in against Golden Valley. I'd play fullback. I was like $140.
Yeah, see?
Just like getting pinballed in the middle. Like, but that's what we had to do. Like, it's just what it was, man. And that's why it's like, man, I must love this shit.
No,
you know?
And it's you saying that's crazy because it's like, that's an example of like how football was. I was like, oh, damn, I don't want to do this, but I love the game too much, or I'm gonna do it because my coach wants me to.
Yeah.
Nowadays, like, it's crazy. Like, you'll get tested where some kids will be like, I'm not doing that. Like, hell no. Like, they won't physically say it, but their, you know, body language, everything. Their body language will be like, you can see them like, and they'll really just like, someone will just try to half-ass their way out of getting put in that spot. They're like, oh, I want to be here, so I'm just gonna half-ass until they pull me out of it. And it's crazy that some kids even think that, because it's like, you don't love the game enough to like do that, then you shouldn't even be here.
Yeah.
Because it's like, if you love football like the way you say you do, you're gonna do what you gotta do for the team.
Yeah, and it's gonna suck. Like, I loved it, but I didn't mean I thoroughly enjoyed, you know, getting my ass kicked or being at practice and getting yelled at and running the happy trail because we all got in trouble or something stupid, you know.
Yeah.
But that's part of it.
Facts.
You know. And honestly, I miss that stuff, bro.
Honestly,
like, I do miss it.
You do, and it's like, people don't realize until afterwards. Like, we even have like how we were talking about Zilberpray the other day when we were at Tarmac, and we were talking about just the morning stuff that we do. We like the morning weights and the running, everything else. Like, we like kids were like, nowadays they hate it. They don't understand it. Like, why do we have to lift at 6 a.m? Some kids don't like it. Some do, but once they graduate, you'll be surprised how many kids come back and like, man, I miss Zilberpray. Like, I miss the morning lifts. Blah blah blah. Like, I'm still working out in the gym, but it's not the same. Like,
Yeah.
My maxes aren't the same anymore. Like, I don't see this definition of my chest still, where my legs are weaker now. Like, I took that morning lift for granted, and it's like, now you see, they even through this pandemic, some of our kids who were like seniors now, they would miss morning workouts or whatever else, and they hated going. And even now they're like, I just want to be back in Zilberpray. Like, I took it for granted. I see the difference now. Like, it's crazy just being away from something for a little bit makes you realize, how important it was.
Yeah.
So
you even have those kids who didn't care at all, and then they're the ones who are like gym rats now. And it's like, bro, like
That
where
too.
was that? Like when like it mattered, you could have applied that to something, like you know.
That too. That's the
They're
crazy
some of
part.
them are like the most dedicated in the gym now, and it's like that's insane,
That's
bro.
crazy too. It's like you're right. Cause I see people in the gym that I used to play with, and I remember them. I remember being like, and when I was playing, like that, those morning workouts were like, it was bigger than just your strength. It was like we took that to heart. Like it was, we were serious about it. And you have those handful of kids who weren't, and now you fast forward and you see those same people that are just like in the gym, like, oh, Leon, if you do this, bro, if you do that, like this will give you a pump here. Your max will go up here if you do this. And I'm like, bro, what the fuck? Like, I remember 6 years ago, you would not do this shit. Like, you would be standing in the back in the weight room, bigger in your eyes, still like not wanting to be there,
Yeah,
like yawning, still like still got crust on your face, just not wanting to
yeah, or doing
be.
like one set out of 3
Yeah, and it
on all
was
the
like,
lifts.
what the hell changed in that time period? But it's like, everyone's different, so it was.
Yeah,
You definitely see that like people realize afterwards when it's a little too late.
yeah. How are some of the kids handling not being able to be properly recruited?
Bro, it's tough, and it's like
'Cause that's one of the first things I thought about when they canceled like high school sports. I was like, what?
it's tough, and it's tough for us. I mean, not saying tough for us, because tough for every school, but it was like we have, you know, this class we have about 4 or 5 kids. But yeah, about 4 or 5 kids who were, on that brink of like, all right, I have these, D1 FCS schools that are looking at me like heavily, but they want to see my senior year. They want to see like my growth and if I've made improvements, blah blah, before they pull a trigger and offer me. And so them not getting that opportunity to showcase themselves has been tough. And so it's like now you're being evaluated from, going to a few 7-on-7 circuits that you're able to do. And even then, you got to travel to Arizona or somewhere to do so. Like I know a few of our kids played in some tournaments, but they were like went out of state to do it. And it's like, even that's tough and that's where I have my opinion on 7-on-7. But like even then, you can't really have an opinion on a kid through 7-on-7, I feel like.
Nah.
But even then, it's like these coaches are going to recruit a kid highlights of 7-on-7 versus a kid in Texas who's playing right now. At the end of the day, that it keeps rolling for recruiters. They got to do what they got to do. So if you have, Texas playing football right now, they're going to go to Texas and find what they got to find. And you, the kid who they did want a lot, and you are an in-state kid who would be cheaper to recruit, you have nothing to show for right now, but this kid does. And so they got to fill a spot somehow. So they seen this kid in Texas is, growth and what he can do.
And in football shape.
Yeah, so they're going to take him right now. And knowing, the pandemic and everything else, the kids can graduate early and be already ready to go for them in the springtime if all their, classes are ready to go. And so it's been tough. So it's like a lot of these kids are like having a hard time. And even the ones who, are still reaching out to them, like schools that are still showing interest, it's like it's the preferred walk on because they don't have the funds to give these kids. So it's like, oh, usually we get, 60 scholarships a year to hand out. Now it's like, no, we have a certain budget amount of money that we have for this particular year, and we got to spend it wisely. So I talked to a coach from Eastern Washington on Zoom, and I'm just like, dude, like I need to like just break it down. Like how is this whole thing working? Like, because like I have, kids that are frustrated with their recruitment, parents that are frustrated, and it's like as coaches, like we're not doing our job trying to get them out. And we're trying, but it's like, they're not getting the offer, so they're assuming that we're just not trying. He goes, yeah, it's tough. He goes, because like personally here in Washington, where a kid is like, it costs us like 17 grand for tuition here for that kid, versus California. For us to go get someone there, their out-of-state tuition total is like 28 grand just for tuition. He goes, that's 11 grand difference. He goes, so when we get a budget for a certain amount of money to spend on this particular class, we gotta spend it wisely. So if you're an out-of-state kid, you got to be a legit baller, like a legit baller, and we got to see you now how you're operating for us to even think about like really giving you like that scholarship. And even then, if we do, it's not probably not going to be a full one. Versus us in Washington, we know we can offer this kid in our home state something. He's 11 grand cheaper, and so it's like not saying we don't want to recruit out of state because we still want to, guys, but it's cheaper for us to recruit in state because it works out better because we can give out more opportunities that way. And he goes, and so that that's tough because we did have a couple of kids we recruited from out of state schools, but then when you have that come into play, that kind of pushes them to the backseat a little bit. So it's been tough, and then you have all the D2 schools out here shut down too, and so it's like opportunities are very limited out here.
Yeah.
All you have in California now is UC Davis, Sac State, Fresno and San Jose, and you have all these in San Diego, and you have all these kids out here fighting for that same, one offer. So now you got even more competitive because there's only a handful of schools in California, and they're faced with the same problems too. They have a certain amount of budget they can spend, and so it's like it becomes a little bit harder.
Yeah.
And so now kids are, forced to either prefer walk on and come out of pocket to prove themselves, or they're lucky if they do get an opportunity. But even then, they're probably still coming out of pocket to something, or some just choose to get out the mud and go the JC route. Nothing wrong with that either. You just gotta pick it wisely and do what you gotta do. But it's been tough, really tough.
I mean, one of the worst things I think about is not necessarily kids not getting to play football, but those certain kids that we talked about who maybe don't have a very good background that have an opportunity to go to college and get an education through playing sports, and not being able to do that, man, that really just kind of sets back these kids, and now they got to figure out, okay, now what am I going to do?
Exactly. It's tough. I feel for this particular class, like they've been dealt the worst hand.
Yeah.
Because
did the first class in 2020, did they still be able to get out, or were they kind of shut down too?
Football wise, they were.
Okay.
Because they had their whole season. They had everything was in the books for them.
And the money was like there still.
Yeah. Now the spring was tough for like if you're a baseball kid or a track kid.
Yeah, track. That's what I was thinking about, like track kids.
Because I have an athlete who's in track, and he's like his sophomore year I think he ran like as a sophomore. I think he may have had like 11.2 as a sophomore.
In the 100?
And so, yeah. And so I'm like, in junior year, this kid's taking off. And he's a football player too. And yeah, he's got offered by UC San Diego recently. So it's working out in his favor, but I knew if he had got his full track season last year and this football season, his recruitment would have took off.
Yeah.
And even I said of another kid who's, outside backer and wide receiver running back. He's a great athlete too. And the difference for him was his speed, and he increased that. So it was like, but he didn't get to showcase that either. And so it's like that had an advantage, disadvantage them because now they missed out on the whole track season to work on what they wanted to work on. And then they missed this football season. So this class of 2021 is taking a huge hit in all ways because they missed out on that track season to really take off, and then that football season to follow it to prove that they, put the work in. And so it's been tough. So like I said, this classes, they've been dealt some shitty hands.
Yeah.
And so it's like the ones that, some kids were just like, have the mentality of like, you know what, this ain't going to happen. Like, whatever, I'm just going to start focusing on after high school and finding a job and whatever. And some have still just like, I'm not giving up. Yeah. And to those kids, I give them, all the credit in the world because, not every kid can stick out to the situation and really just keep their pride and keep fighting through this. And so it's tough for them, but like I said, some of them they're fighting. So a lot of respect to those kids who do.
Yeah, that's the key word, bro. Is showcase. You gotta. You could be the greatest, but if nobody ever sees it, how do they know? You know.
Exactly.
And that does make sense. While I would probably just recruit out of Texas, because I mean you already have a lot of great talent there, and they're playing.
Exactly.
So it's like, because there's nothing, bro. You could work out every day, bust your ass every day, but I just feel like if you're not in the season, practicing every day, playing, like that's just a different type of like shape, you know?
No, it is. Like it's all of it. You get that. Like you said, you get that whole January to June lifting cycle you do. So you're really pumping, you're getting your gains, you're putting on muscle, blah, blah. Summer comes, you're still lifting, now you're running a little bit more too. And so you're shaped to do that.
Yeah.
And then you take all that taken away from you, and it's like,
because that's
so
what
yeah,
you prepare
can,
for the season.
Exactly, yeah. You can still, like, and I'm not knocking the kids that are still just like out, lifting what they can, what they got, and running still. But it's different because it's when you're actually, getting the opportunity to work out with your team and everything else, you're on a program, so you're on a schedule for your body to progress. Versus now, it's like you're kind of like, all right, let me do this, let me do that, and so your body's kind of just taking what you give it, but it's not on a certain schedule that's setting up for growth.
Yeah,
if you get what I mean. So it's like it's a little different, and that's where I said, like I said, it's shitty for this class. Like I said, I really feel bad for him. So.
Damn, man, that sucks. I've been meaning to ask somebody who has kind of more of an insight on that, because I've just been thinking about it and seeing what's going on, and I'm just like, man, I can only imagine how that is, man.
It's tough, and I said, like, I will say, like, me personally, I can't speak for every school, or even at Atwater. Both of us, we have some great athletes this year who we both feel like, have opportunities to really excel at the next level and, make some stuff happen. And when you see that being taken from these kids because of, the situation, it's like, it's sad, bro. It's like, because for a while, like, I talked to that coach like last month. That's December. Pandemic started in March. It took that long for me to get an answer. So the whole time, like, parents and players had questions, and it was like, I was kind of just going with it. I'm just like, all I could say was just stay in contact. As coaches, we'll try to do our part. We'll reach out. We'll send film. Just keep working hard. Any drills you have of yourself, working out and whatever, send those. And then I remember a coach from Sac State said, he's like, I'm going to offer my kids this year based off of their work ethic. He was like, so have them send me, them running routes or them lifting weights consistently, and let me see if they're trying to grow still through this. And still, like, but even then, that's still a little hard to do because.
Do you guys have access to all that, like to the weight room?
No.
So how would they be able to do that?
Exactly. So it's like that's on their own. Some kids are blessed with weight rooms at their house, and they have bench sets and ladders and parachutes and all that stuff, and they can do it. But not every kid has that.
Yeah. That's
where it's at. But even then, that's still hard to do because, as you and I know, as athletes, there's some of those kids that work their butts off, like they work really hard, but they're just not a great athlete.
Yeah.
Versus, so this kid may look great in this video of, putting up 315 on bench and excelling in these drills or whatever.
That has nothing to do with how you play.
Exactly. Versus a kid who you may think this kid is better than what he is, versus this kid who really is great but doesn't look as good to you in these particular drills, and you're going to offer this kid when this kid is actually better. And so it's a crazy situation.
Man, that'd be shitty to be a recruiter.
That's what I'm saying. I feel bad, just as bad for them as I do for these players, because it's like no one's getting the full on, hand they actually want to be dealt. And so
is this like, so the money is obviously disappearing because no one's going to school?
Yeah.
Or well, they're going to school, but like, what exactly? Is it because like no one's like there's no. I mean, they're still playing, like the colleges. So
Some
like, is this
some
money
are.
getting taken from them, or they just don't have the budget anymore?
Well, everyone's different. So like,
It's like there are private colleges too. You know, that's a little different as well.
yeah. So the ones like the big D ones, they have ways to get their funds still, you know. But like the ones like the F like Eastern Washington, they're doing FCS, so they got pushed back to the spring. So they're supposed to play sometime this year in February or March, I want to say. But even then, it's like that got pushed. So those funds that you originally would have had from ticket sales and concession, all that stuff,
Yeah.
you don't have that coming in anymore. So now they got to take a different avenue to. Like I said, I'm not 100% sure on how they get their funds and how everything works for them.
Yeah.
But just alone, and even the big colleges, they still took a big hit because do you think of like hell? You think of Oregon, who is like got one of the best fan bases in the country. They have no crowds this year. That's still a lot of they're making monies in other ways still, but that's still a lot of money
Yeah.
lost.
Yeah.
You have 100,000 fans that can't come to your
Yep.
games, not buying your tickets. That's a lot of revenue you're missing out on.
That's kind of the same thing with like big corporations and small businesses. Like even like so you got the small colleges who are pretty much like we're pretty much screwed here. But then you got the big colleges who like Alabama, they could take a big hit,
And still be
but
fine.
they're gonna be fine.
Yeah.
They have enough, other things, even like the TV ratings and things like that.
Yeah, exactly.
They're on TV, so that does make sense. That does suck for the smaller schools, like you said, the D2 schools. They're just shutting down. They're just like
Humboldt shut down about a year or two ago. All there was left was Zoo Pacific, and they shut down last month.
So you mean like shut down like all their athletics or the whole school?
No,
or
like football is canceled.
just football? Okay.
Yeah, they shut down football. So
yeah, man, they just couldn't afford it.
From what they say, yeah, they didn't have the funds to. Football costs a lot, and they don't have, the money to do so. So I didn't read into it too much, honestly.
Yeah.
I know Humboldt, that was more the reasoning, like all the funds. Azusa I didn't read into too much, but I'm assuming the same thing. I don't know why else.
Yeah.
Especially Azusa was a good program. They won a lot of games, a lot of championships over the last few years. So I couldn't imagine why you would shut down the program that.
Right, because when you win,
it's pretty successful.
Yeah, and when you win like championships or like you go to a bowl game, even if it's not a big bowl game, if you win those, like they get paid.
Oh, yeah,
like
exactly.
The school gets a fat check.
So that's the only thing I can think of why they would shut that down.
I think it's really showing how much revenue athletics brings into schools and why like regular, kids who go to college who don't play sports complain about, man, these kids get to go for free. They get their books free. We got to pay all this and that. But it's like, you don't understand how much money like athletics brings in. And that's why they get that, because they're bringing in way more money for the entire school. So that's why they give it to some of like the athletes and stuff.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So
even in high school, I think CIF posted something like, as they keep their updates with what they're going to do with us and whatnot, they posted something about, just how much money they've missed out on in the fall alone, just from football itself, from the games and playoffs alone. CIF makes so much money, and they even posted like how much they'll miss out on. I guess in their defense of like, they want to give kids playoffs, but they can't, obviously, because of the pandemic, and they're like suffering too. I guess that's the reason for posting it, but even that was like, they're missing out a lot of money. High school as we are, just because all this stuff going on, like things that we usually do on a yearly basis that we can't do. Like for us, a golf tournament, which would bring in a lot of money, which we couldn't do this year. So now we have to take other avenues to bring money in to get kids the stuff they want.
yeah,
We just got these kids a new Jordan uniform that we got before the pandemic started.
And then no way would have got it.
And then pandemic hits, and it's like, oh, well, that's a little different now. But
damn, man,
Jordan, it's pretty costly.
Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, man. Well, hopefully things get better. Hopefully by the summertime. That's what I'm hoping for. But, I mean, I doubt it. We'll see. I'm trying to stay optimistic because I want to see everything go back to normal, and I want to start going to some football games, man.
I do too. It's just I don't even know what's gonna happen, bro. Every day it's something different.
Yeah.
He keeps getting pushed back, and I don't. I don't even know. As a coach, everyone's always like, "What do you think? What do you think?" And I'm like, I'm always positive no matter what. So I'm gonna say it'll happen. And they're talking about doing like a county league now, to where it's just like Merced County playing against each other and not being a CIF. So we'll see if that happens. So it'll be pretty
Just
much
trying to keep communities closer together.
Yeah, so it would be Merced, Buac, Atwater, GV, El Cap, Livingston, the Los Banos schools, all in one little league, and they'll just play their,
It kind of sucks for the smaller schools, though.
It does, because
they have divisions for a reason.
Oh yeah, and so I don't know how exactly that would be laid out, but I would assume they'll just be put in the same thing because it's considered Merced County.
Yeah.
And so it's.
Shit, man, sink or swim, huh?
it's tough, like I said.
Yeah, damn.
And everyone's different. Like some kids just want to play, and they're okay with that happening. Some kids are just like, they're not they're happy with that. Like for us, some of our kids are like, the way we lost last year in playoffs, and they feel like this is their bounce back year. Like we're going back,
Yeah.
to defend ourselves and get a title. It's like, and now playoffs are shut down, so they're like, seriously, like this was a year that
discouraging.
That they felt like, man, we're gonna do this.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's tough, but
hey, what are you doing, dude? But man, I appreciate you coming on and speaking some knowledge, man. I learned a lot, honestly.
I'm still learning as I go.
Yeah, most definitely. But I really hope things get better, and I hope you guys continue to be successful over there. I know we're rivals, Atwater and Buhag, but it's all the same town, man.
Try and get you to come over our side still.
Mike
and Gold don't look too bad on you, man.
I don't know about that, bro. I can't even wear that just like some regular shit. I don't wear no black and gold, man. I don't know.
Hey, man. You never know. I'm working on Trevor, too. Little side note.
Yeah. We'll see. I don't know, man. I'm loyal to Ibarra, man.
I get it.
That's my guy. He just came over the other day. Just say what's up.
You're a track guy, too. You're a hurdler. You're definitely one of his.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I was introduced to him in football. Football is definitely my first love, but he really made me appreciate track, and like we really got after it that year.
Yeah.
Put in a lot of freaking work, man. And I told him, man, anyone who beats that record, bro, they deserve it. Like, they earned that shit.
You made it look too easy that year. I mean, you're beating everyone by like 50 meters every meet. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, I liked racing going and racing like the bigger meets, seeing the competition and shit.
Stanford.
Yeah. But kids would ask me, bro, they'd be like, dude, I wasn't the most talented. They just asked me like, man, like what do you do? Like when I would run the 300, how do you run it? I'm like, dude, I just go all out.
Yeah.
I just run as hard as I can, and I throw up after every race. Like, you don't understand.
Yeah.
Like, that's what sucks, because like I know I'm gonna put all out there, and I always say this: it hurts more to lose than to just like throw up at the end and feel like shit for a couple hours.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I looked at it.
It's crazy. It's crazy you say that, because that's no way of thinking. Everyone doesn't see it that way anymore. Like I said, this new generation is a little different.
It's like, what are you leaving it out there for, man?
They don't see it the way we see it, or the way we would see it back then, or I don't know, but.
Yeah, a lot of people say I'm angry. It's just, man, I just got passion, bro. It's passion.
It's all it is.
Like all pure emotion, Like, I see shit like, hey, you know how annoying that is? Come on, dude. Like, I see certain shit, like, it makes me tear up. like the crowd going crazy. Like I'll just watch it and I'm just like, dude, like I started like getting like teary eyed just because like that's crazy to me, you know?
No, it was like I didn't even. It took. I didn't realize how like even when we were playing, like I didn't think back to like how big our crowd was or how crazy it would
Dude,
go. It never hit me until like honestly, obviously we were really good this past year, and our games would be packed, and even like some of our players now were like in youth back then, and they would be like, Coach, it was I remember being a little kid on the sideline when you guys were playing, and they were
it was like the place to be.
yeah, it was like it was bigger than this, and I was like, really, like I really never even sat and really just let that sink in back then. Honestly,
Yeah.
it didn't hit me until like last year when I was like, damn, like we got a packed house, and people would be like, it was way bigger when you were playing, and I was like, but Atwater VI game this past year when we played them, that was probably the craziest crowd I've ever seen.
Was it?
Bro, it was obviously Atwater, like both sides packed, and even like around the track, the gate that goes around, people were standing around that. Like it was packed. It was crazy.
Yeah, because you guys had a pretty good record.
Yeah, we were undefeated.
Oh,
and,
there you go. That's
and
right.
Atwater,
they had,
they had like 1 or 2 losses. Maybe they probably only had.
that was the year they beat Merced, huh?
Yeah,
For like the first time in a long time.
they beat Merced. Then they had. Then they had may have one. They had one loss, in their non-league. I want to say so. They rolled through league. They beat everyone, and then whoever that game was the league championship. If we won, we had it outright. If they would have beat us, we would have tied for it. And it came down to the wire too, 14-13. It was pretty electric.
Dude, how's that being a coach, man?
It was crazy. Honestly, it got a little like we were hyped up. It's rivalry, so you know how it goes. Like
Yeah.
our players, we came out in all white. They were all hyped. They were excited. And then like, we felt good, but it was still like, hey, reality, we got to take care of business. And then the first kickoff, we kick off to them, and one of our DB receiver, he goes down, he just like hits 2 dudes, boom, and hits another guy, and I'm like, damn, that's tempo right there.
Yeah, setting the tone.
But then he gets hurt, and then he's done for the game. So we're like, oh crap, we lose one player, and then next few drives we lose like 3 or 4 starting linemen. So now we're down like 5 stars in the first quarter,
Damn.
and that means like done, like they're out the game. So it's like, and so we're very big on like, all right, next man up, like everyone got to step up now, like it's do or die. And we had guys that were backups that came in and just got the job done. And even then, 14-13, Atwater had the ball last. We had it was probably like 4th and like 5 or something. They had no more time. They had to take a shot, and I think our DB, I think he was Eulis. He came up with a stop, and we came out to win. But that was crazy just because the situation that was dealt. Just conference title on the line. We had 5 starters go down. I think their quarterback went down at Atwater. And it was just a defensive game just hitting nonstop, and then it came down to that, and we pulled it out. So that was as a coach, like I said, as a player, had a lot of wins, did a lot of things, but I think that game was probably like one of the craziest games I've ever been a part of.
Damn.
I think probably only one other game ever in my career, like as a player and coach, that probably tops that game. But other than that, that was like crazy.
Yeah.
So
I do remember the crowd when we were juniors. I
was a senior, right?
What's that?
We were the same class, right?
Yeah, you graduated 13, right?
Oh yeah. I'm thinking
So you guys had
I'm thinking you're the same class as Vic.
No. So you had like Aziz.
Oh
all
yeah.
them. Yeah. That crowd.
We almost lost.
Yeah. We should have won that game.
I think
to be honest.
I think you guys should have. I think that's why senior year.
That was some dumb shit
Senior year we expected to that game go
I
a
thought
lot
it was
differently.
gonna be closer senior
No,
year.
we did. I remember like that week, senior year, like I posted a picture of the trophy or something, and Trevor was like, he commented, he was like, you guys, he said something like, you guys got away with one last year, but this year is different. And even me personally, I thought to them, like, this team ain't going to fucking lay down for us like everyone else has. Like, we won a lot of games, but this team, like, they know us. Like, we're rivals. They know us on a personal level. Like, it's just going to be, it's going to be a dogfight. And then when the game happened and it came out to how it came out, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, honestly, I don't even really remember.
I was tripping. And I was like, bro, like, I was thinking, you know, like 24-21 type game. And us winning the way we did, I was like, I did not expect this to be a blowout.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be a lot closer.
So did I.
But junior year, that was...
You know what's funny about junior year? We had a better team junior year. We just, like, never could get it together. And for whatever reason, we just, like... I can't tell you what was said in the before the game, like, in the locker room. Because, like, our coach, like, we didn't really have a game plan, bro. Like, he was just basically, like, fuck it, dude. Like, let's just go out there. Like, he was just, like, yelling, like, last game, like fuck it, basically, you know.
You can feel that though.
We were all just like jacked, bro. Like we were just run. It was like we were going out there like ready to die, bro. Like, no, honestly, and we like played our asses out.
I kid you not. It felt that way. Like that game, it felt like for us, we're not even know you guys were like
we were 4-6. We were 4-5 at the time. We
yeah,
ended 4-6.
So you guys had nothing to lose, and it felt that way. It was like you guys came out like I remember just like. Being a running back, there was nothing inside that we can do. Like you guys were just like the D linemen were stunting and guys were blitzing left and right. Like every time we ran a sweep, you guys were blitzing downhill. It was just like it was like you guys were just flying everywhere, and it was just like that mentality of like you got nothing to lose. Yeah. So
that's really what it felt like, bro.
But we did like all right, we beat them. Their playoffs becomes a little bit harder now because they get a different seed. So it felt like you guys were just like, you know what? And I think 2 of your touchdowns were like double reverse passes, and
there's some dumb shit.
And
bro.
I was like, "What the?" I'm like, and so it was irritating because our defense, you know, they were good and they would stop, and here comes like a double reverse pass and back to the quarterback, and I'm like, "What?"
Yeah,
what they draw this shit up?
We like came up with that shit like that week.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like,
stupid shit. Where'd
this shit coming from? Like this shit was. I mean, you'd expect it because it's a rivalry game, but it's like, it was like multiple variations. Like I remember, you know. You guys doing a reverse and then giving to someone else and the quarterback willing out to the side and launching to him for a touchdown. I'm like, all right, that's one. And then a few drives later, some flea flicker type shit. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Like, they're in this game because it's all trick plays and just fucking pure emotion that's happening right now. And it's like,
it was, like I said, man, our coaches literally were hyping us up like we were going to war and like we were going to all lose. Like we were all just going to like not come out alive. That's how it felt. Like we just ran out there like, dude, fuck this, bro.
And we came out and it was just like, we're like, oh shit. All right. Like it's going to be one of those games, huh? luckily for us, Joe was Joe.
Yeah.
He just finds fucking ways to make plays. And
that was a good catch.
He had a nice catch.
That was a good catch. I ain't gonna lie. But we had a lot of mental mistakes that game. But man, I'm glad it. I mean, shit, it was fun. It was fun. We beat you guys freshman, sophomore year. I know that doesn't really matter as much, but that was like my first time ever beating Buhack. Do you remember playing at Buhack in the muddy ass field?
I was at Merced High.
So that's right, you were.
I beat you guys freshman year.
Ah, yeah, we got our ass kicked.
You guys were undefeated too. That one was a little personal for us, that game.
Was it? Why?
I don't remember what happened. I just remember. That was like Facebook days. I remember Kyle posted something and so did Shane. I was like, all right, you motherfuckers. Like, it's going to be raps. I remember because we both played a similar schedule. You guys had played we played
Buhack like week 5.
No, but you guys played the team from Fresno, Bullard.
Oh, week 1.
And so did we. And you guys like blew them out. We beat them by like a touchdown. And then we also played another similar team. You guys blew them out.
Did you guys play Kimball?
We
played Kimball that year.
It was 2 games that we played the same team, and you guys blew them out. We didn't. And you guys were like, like it's over. Like y'all stand no chance. And we're like, and that was Yabar was our coach, and he was like, all right. He's like, all right. And then I remember him just being like, oh, like, you ready? And I was like, let's do it. Yeah. And our defense at that point, had found themselves like, all right, it's go time. And they came out, we're just hitting. And then I think Barb just like do your thing, and I think I had like 4 touchdowns, and I was like, it was crazy. 'Cause I did not expect it to go that way either, but it was like that game was personal. And then youth, you guys always beat us by like 6. It was always like 12-6.
It was the closest game of the year, really.
And we'd always lose though, and I'm like, I'm fucking tired of losing that water. Like this is the time to do it.
Yeah.
And then it just kept playing out that way, but.
Yeah, I never really had no beef with Merced. It was really just BHAG, honestly.
And then I transferred to BX sophomore year.
And that's where it all happened, man.
Yeah, I wanted to change the scenery.
Yeah. But thanks for coming on, brother. Having a good talk, man. I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Had to have you on again, man. Hopefully you get a full season in here next year.
I hope so.
See what happens.
You said this class deserves it, bro. Like instead, they came up, a point short from sections last year, and they're motivated. They want to get shit done. They want to redeem themselves. So they've been working all year to bounce back. So hopefully they get the opportunity to do so.
Yeah, but we'll see what happens. But this is the Mulberry podcast. We'll see you guys next time.
Mulberry.